All right. How many were here yesterday for my talk yesterday? Yeah, a few. Yeah, good. Welcome back. I didn't scare you away too badly. So yesterday I was talking about using some tooling to effectively use the cloud. Today I'm going to talk about the problems and challenges I see that companies have when using the cloud, and by extension, what some of the people in the audience may consider as their next career move, because the cloud is huge and growing, and in that space there is certainly a lot of business going on, and there will be going forward. So it might be worth listening to, okay, I'm maybe a young professional, I'm at the start of my career, where am I going? I don't know exactly, I can tell you, to the cloud. And I'd like to share that experience, share from using the cloud with lots of companies around the world where I work with. Okay, great. So I'm going to start with a story. As all stories start, once upon a time. There was this very successful manufacturing company called Acme LLC here in Delhi. In fact, I believe you know it. Of course, you know this company because they are making, chai mugs. So you can imagine how successful they are. Huge, of course. And with all this experience, with all of this success, they also have a big IT department that they want to take to the cloud. With all of the compute power and all the things that they need, they want to use the cloud platform. But they find, when they're going to the cloud, that the road to the cloud is kind of full of holes, kind of like any Delhi road. Sorry about that one, kidding. But really, there are treacherous holes and pitfalls. You have to be careful how you walk that road. For example, they find that when they start using the cloud, it begins to go first, a little bit, and then more, and it seems like the costs are always growing, and they don't know for sure if all that cost is motivated. So they want to have financial control of the usage of the cloud, but it is hard. Also, there is something called compliance. And what is compliance? Compliance means, let's say, that you are handling personal information, hospital information, sensitive data. Your setup in the cloud has to follow all the rules, all the standards, all the ISO standards and NIST and other things, depending on who also you do business with in turn. They may have requirements on them, and you as a supplier using the cloud must live up to those. And that's hard, and it's challenging to actually make that work. You can make the application work, but is the application actually certified and compliant? And also, don't even get me started on security, right? Because security is a challenging area as well, especially for Acme here. They're struggling to find their way with security. They see security warnings in the Azure portal. They can see different warnings and things that they should live up to, but they don't know how. So they felt that, however they go, there's always new holes in the road, and they seem to grow deeper and darker and more scary all the time. And the problem is, by now, it is too late to go back. Now they've started out to the cloud, and now they have to fix this. They have to live in this world. And I can tell you for sure, from working with many different companies, that don't take a picture with the fail in the back. Wait one slide, yeah? I'll give you a better slide. No, hang on, stay. So I can tell you that a lot of companies are struggling with this, all right? So there must be a better way, and now take the picture. All right, so you need to look at what information you can take from the cloud and start using it. Because there is a lot of information there. A company is running a lot of things in the cloud platform, and there is a lot of information there to be used if only you know how to use it, right? Okay, good. So I am Magnus Martensson. I am from Sweden, country far away in the north. Yes, winter is coming, land. Sweden is about 1/7 the size of India. So, okay, India is large, but Sweden is not really small. 1/7 of India is still pretty big. There are about 10 million people total in my country. That's almost like half a suburb of Delhi. So really, it is not a lot of people, and it's far away in the north. That's where I'm from. I am 11 times a Microsoft Azure MVP, so I was there from the very beginning of Azure. Tell me, what were you guys doing 11 years ago? Don't tell me. Some of you young professionals were probably in grade school or something, yes? And I'm also something called, very strange, Microsoft Regional Director. So I want to make something clear: I don't work for Microsoft. I also don't have a region, and I don't direct anything. But it is a title that means that I am very close with Microsoft, and I talk to them at a VP level, and I get to know a lot of things along this road. And I'm here today to share some of this with you. Tweet me something nice, yeah? But I promised you gold. This session promises gold. So you can rightly ask, okay, where's the moolah? Bring me the cash, yeah? I promised you gold, yeah? So I'm going to do that. The question we need to ask ourselves is, why is the cloud so hard? I'm claiming that it is hard to do. Is that real? Is it hard? Let's take a look. This is something called the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework. It is a very, very good resource to study, but it is also massive. So Microsoft has taken a lot of information from a lot of companies, a lot of customers, and their experience, and they have come up with this plan. It looks like you should follow this line here and go around and kind of do, first you have a strategy, and then you make a plan for the cloud, and then you get ready, and off you go to the cloud, right? That seems like a step-by-step modularized approach, except that reality is nothing like that. Reality is more this, right? It's much harder than you think. You have to go back and maybe redo some of the plan. Once you get to know the cloud better, it's like, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. Oh, crap, we have to go back and do the plan again, right? So it doesn't really work as simple as you might think. And then also, I'd like to point out that this is very technical stuff. And way down there, you see people and process. Just a tiny mention about people. So, technology is all focused, but people are in the corner. And that's why if you go into the Cloud Adoption Framework, you will see another picture down there that is focusing on organize. It says that you need to evaluate the needs and establish a team and so on and so forth. Yes, you do. And that's where we can start bridging from technology into something that makes sense for you all, for us, for people. And by the way, when you're there, now security all of a sudden in this picture is just a little mention. So however you turn the cloud and look at it from different angles and focus on different things, maybe sometimes something else goes away in the background. But if you start looking into this, again, Cloud Adoption Framework is just a framework, a reference material, but it's like hundreds of pages and even thousands of images. So it's huge reference material. And it is challenging for any organization to consume and apply all the great advice in the Cloud Adoption Framework. I put this up on purpose, not like I'm going to have a quiz for you. It's also not an eye exam, so you can you read what? No, it's not an eye exam. And what this slide is for is to show you that, yes, there is a lot, right? So that you get it. These are things, if you're in the cloud for real, committed, and maybe your company you work for is spending millions and millions of rupee every year consuming cloud services, they will need to be mindful of all these things. They need to do all that, whatever that is, right? All of these things with security again, right? Do we have a strategy? Does the people that work for the company, do they know the strategy? Or are they just working with their technical thing, building an application? Are they sure they know the strategy? And operations, how do we take care of things when they're running in the cloud? So many things, okay? And the challenge is, right, that the cloud sounds technical. This is for technical people. Sounds very technical. It's commonly mistaken for being primarily a technical challenge. This is not the case. It is in fact primarily a strategic business challenge with a human capital challenge on top, right? You have to know the strategy, why you're using the cloud, for what purpose and how, and then you have to align that with the people of your organization. So this picture is probably the best value, in my opinion, from the cloud adoption framework. In other words, when you have this cloud business strategy meeting, when all the big wigs at the top of the company food chain are deciding, yes, we should have a cloud-first strategy for our company. Yes, we should. The most important person in that meeting is the human resource director, because you will need to align your company's people with the same. I see a lot of nodding heads. Thank you for that. So I'll just give you one example why this can be challenging, okay? This is an example where we're talking about infrastructure services, as in virtual machines moving to the cloud or setting up virtual machines in the cloud. Is that our strategy, to run our applications using servers? Or maybe we want to be more modernized and innovate and get rid of some of the service and use what is known as platform services instead, and just deploy the applications to maybe a web app service or something like that, and not use so many servers. For those of us who know, this is a pretty, these are two different things, right? Using IaaS services mainly, or using PaaS services mainly. Or maybe skip it all together and go use a software service, right? For example, a company should not, that would be crazy. If a company is running, let's say, Exchange server for email and stuff, and they move to the cloud, if they take that Exchange server and migrate it to the cloud and use it there, I'm going to say they're crazy. Because that's not how you do it. You migrate your company over to Office 365 instead and get rid of the server altogether, right? So there are some strategy choices here. Why is this a difficult choice to make? Well, I'll tell you, if your company has a lot of people that know about servers and love them and work with them and have done so for 10, maybe 20 years or something, and your company has a lot of servers, you have a lot of staff that knows this. Effectively meaning it's going to be challenging for you to truly innovate, to truly get the best out of the cloud. You won't be able to do it. And when you do, if you do, let's say that someone understands, hey, listen, we have to use more PaaS services to really optimize the cost of the cloud, to really get the best benefits. Well, then these people will start wondering if they still have a job. So this, that sounds technical, it's not a technical question. It is a human question. And there's a saying of, you could look it up, there's a saying called moving the cheese. What it means is humans are not really susceptible to change. I'm used to my cheese being over here, and now I can't find it, somebody moved my cheese, and it's really making me uncomfortable because we are changing things, and I don't know how to relate to this. But for young professionals, this is a clear opportunity coming into the business today. Maybe you haven't been managing a lot of servers in your life. You should start here. Forget about the servers. I don't care. Nobody cares about servers. Sorry, servers have a clear use case as well, of course. Some things can't run well in platform services. But you may end up using the new cloud in the old way, right? So all the people in the organization need to feel included on the journey to the cloud. Otherwise, you may have serious problems. So here is a survey which I found, lovely survey because it really confirms everything I've been saying just now. So I was searching the internet and I found this and I was like, hey, that's exactly what I have been saying for years. So on this top list here of top challenges in the cloud, let's remove managing software licenses, because I don't know about you, but managing software licenses is not my cup of chai. No. That makes me want to shower or something. It's software licenses, yuck. But let's look at the other things on the list. It is security, it is spend, which is cost. It is governance, managing the thing in the cloud. It is compliance. What did I just tell you, right? So all of those things. And then there's one more thing. Lack of resources and experience. Staffing. Yeah? If you only had the right people, if you only had the right people with the right skills, you might be okay or better off. But that's a problem. You don't have those people. And there is a deficit in the market of this. That translates to an opportunity for anyone who wants to be a professional in the cloud. Right? This has directionality. So let's run through maybe, hopefully a little bit faster. I tend to talk. Hopefully a little bit faster, the different areas that I have been mentioning, the large areas, okay? Financial operations. Self-estimated in the same survey by the respondents, they self-estimated that no less than 32%, a third of their spend of Azure, of the resources that they use in Azure and they get a monthly bill for how much money, a third is waste. That was my session yesterday, yeah? That was what that was about. A third is waste. This is crazy. This is nuts. So if a company is spending 10 million rupee on the cloud, 3.2 million rupee is just like burning money on the lawn. Dang. Think about it. And it turns into that there are tools in the platform. This is a random copy screen from the internet that helps you with cost alerts and cost analysis and budgets and things. But what I see is that a lot of companies are challenged using this. They don't know how to use it and how to take value from it properly. Here's a company, they are spending 567,000 Danish kroner for nothing. That's about that's a little over 6 million rupee, which is waste. If only they followed this advice, which is already in the portal, ready for them to see. They look at this every day. They see it. It's right there, but they're not taking action on it. And look at this one. It's over 300,000 Danish, so it's the most of the money. This is exactly, should we have virtual machine reserved instances, or should we maybe use platform services instead? This is exactly the question I had up before, right? And if they cannot have that conversation, which strategy should we have? That's strategy. Which strategy should we have? If they can't have the conversation, you have to ask, why can't you have the conversation? And then it turns out when you ask why a couple of times that it's actually because you don't have the staff, and the staff that you do have are scared of losing their jobs. So it wasn't a technical question. Setting it up is very, very easy. Technically, you just essentially click next, next, finish. But it's a big money commit, so you can't do it without permission. And if you go to the managers and say, if we do the following, very easy to do, we save lots of money. And then they start like, right? And then it gets stuck. Waste, 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 waste. Right? All right, good. You with me so far? Good, yes. So, sure. We know that there are Azure cost management optimizations we need to tend to. But 7 months later, when the enterprise agreement ran out, those had not yet been reviewed. So I was talking to a company. They made, was it a $1 million commit? $1 million US commit at an enterprise agreement with Microsoft for 12 months, right? And after 7 months, they were out of money because they had been overspending so much that they ran out of money in the commit. And then the blame game started. Whose fault is this? Who did that? Why are we spending so much money on the cloud? Why is it so expensive, Microsoft? This is your fault. Microsoft looks at the recommendation and says, okay, but we have given you this list of recommendations. You haven't done anything about it. It's not like we haven't told you, right? Crazy. So as consultants, if you're a consultant, you should create financial analysis services. You should offer cloud FinOps trainings and things like that. Also prepare to help strategically as a consultant. Train yourself in understanding FinOps for the cloud, and you can help. You can really be beneficial and valuable. And if you want a career path as an engineer, there is actually a controlling Azure spends and stuff in Microsoft Learn. And Microsoft loves when I talk about Microsoft Learn, so I tend to do that. You can go to the Learn site, and you can look up this module, and you can learn about financial optimization. So as customers, if you're using the cloud and paying lots of money, to Microsoft, for example. You should really invest in making a solid financial analysis, and you should have that uncomfortable strategic talk about the strategy of reshaping the skills in the organization. That can be hard. Don't forget human resources, most important. And for heaven's sake, implement those cost advisories that are already there. Don't forget about them. It's on you if you do. Right, compliance. Maybe most of you don't know really what compliance is, but essentially in the Azure portal, if you're using Azure, you can click on policies and you can see what is our compliancy state. Here is a company, I've removed the name so as to not hang them out. Here is a company that is 12% compliant. They're using cloud, spending millions, and they have happy customers using their applications, but their compliance is crap. There is a site called azadvertiser.net, and it shows, for anyone who understands these technical things, all the policies and things in the cloud. It's run by a Microsoft person, but it's not an official Microsoft tool. But what he's doing is that he's reading the policies and things installed in the cloud. Policies are what's baselining. You measure against policy to find your compliancy score, right? And Microsoft keep changing the policies. So I want to focus in on the policy piece and note that there were 41 changes in this case in less than 2 weeks. So keeping up with policy in the cloud is very challenging. If you have an application and you deploy it and you run it and your business is doing fine, your customers are happy, money is coming in and everything is cool, and it was compliant. Yeah, sorry, but maybe sometime later, a month later, it is not compliant anymore. And you may have an issue. So you have to keep up with compliancy all the time. So we put in a lot of effort, says this company, and fixed our compliance. It was almost perfect, but then the cloud changed shape again, and we're back out of compliance. Or here's another one. We know compliance is a must-have, and we are trying to do it. But getting policy governance in place is overpowering. They don't know how to update the policy governance and manage policy. They don't know how to take care of this. There is no one that understands it enough, and they're also quite stuck. That's how it goes. So as a consultant, you can create compliance analysis services and help your customers to use the cloud better. You can focus on compliancy, and you can operate the customer compliance and say, hey, we can help you. We have experience in compliancy. We can do this. We can manage this for you. And then create compliant deployments, because the challenge is, if you say you go into, like, for example, the Azure portal, and you say, click, I want to deploy this thing, like a virtual machine. When it's deployed, you think it's compliant? Well, it depends on which settings you set, right? If you make the wrong choices along the path of deploying a virtual machine, it's not necessarily compliant when you're done. You can turn off compliancy without knowing you're doing that. So this is something you need to learn how to do and understand how to do, and it actually takes experience, and it's actually hard to do. So if you're a customer of the cloud, if you are spending money on the cloud again, you want to centralize that compliancy governance in your organization, because otherwise you will have, let's say you have 20 different teams and they build 20 different applications in the cloud. And each one of these teams in turn will have to do the same work and understand the same things about compliance. So you're 20 times over spending time from your engineers to do the same thing over and over again, and that doesn't sound smart to me. So you can have, this is a little bit more technical, I want to mention it. If you have environments like a development environment, a testing environment, production environment, you can apply the same policies, the same compliancy standards to all of these different environments, but you can do in production with an effect called deny. So if somebody tries to deploy and they're not compliant with policy in production, the deployment will fail. You will say, no, you're denied, you're out of compliance, sorry, you can't be here in production. You can have the same policy in development, but applied with an audit effect. So you can fiddle around with things in development until it's right. And when you know it's compliant, you can go and deploy it to production, and it's going to work there as well. But that's a little bit more technical. I don't know if that made sense to you all, but that's how it goes. And also, you could invest in a reusable library so that your organization has the same packages that you deploy over and over again using what's known as infrastructure as code, and make a centralized body that builds and maintains these compliant deployments of whatever it is. It's, oh, we have a website and we have a SQL database and some things, and have a compliant deployment and redeploy that over and over again. That was also in my talk yesterday. Okay, brilliant. I'm using my pen as a clicker, by the way. That's cool. Engineers. Okay, now, compliancy is a challenging area. It's a big and challenging area. And the problem is that the only way to really fix compliancy is to get good at Azure. So you have to become experienced. So you have to learn and become better and be on your toes. And if you are a person who can do it, you will be very valuable in the market. So also with security and compliance, you can't say, yeah, we're going to deploy things now and make it work so that the customers are happy, so that the business is happy and they get off our back, and then later we'll go and fix compliance. Yeah, well, that doesn't work. It's never, if you don't do it right away, it's never going to be compliant later. I'm sorry. There is no business in the world that's going to say, oh yeah, great, now you have the application running. By the way, the engineering team is taking 6 months to fix compliance. It's okay, right? We can do that. Business will say, no, they don't understand. They don't know why the application is running. What are you doing, right? You're wasting my time, they think, because they don't understand. You technical people need to understand. So also you can have this library of compliant components. Yes, we talked about this. Good, good, good. Moving on. And this one is actually very interesting as well. I did not talk about that in my session yesterday because that was about command line and using the command line to develop and test very quickly. But now this is another tool that Microsoft is working on. The code name is called Fidalgo. I was part of the private preview on this before, as an MVP before the public got known of this. It's now known as the Azure Deployment Environments, which is a way for the infrastructure teams to set up environments, subscriptions in Azure and identities for the users, and give permissions to sign in and so on, and create these infrastructure as code templates that can be reused by the entire organization. Now we're back to my yesterday's session again. And then there are developers who is actually building an application. They don't have to worry about all of this. They shouldn't worry about all of this. They can just take one of those deployments and say, hey, I want one of those. Give me one of those so I can deploy my application and do my job. Right? So keep an eye on this. This is a good one. All right. Security, last one. Whew. Secure score. In the Azure portal, you can find what's known as a secure score to tell how secure is our deployment, is our company. Are we following security standards? All right? I like to call this picture half secure. How is your security, by the way? Oh, it's about half. We're half secure. What is half secure? But those of us who work with security understand that it's not necessarily as bad as it looks. You can maybe fix one thing, and just one thing can be 25%. So it's not necessarily super bad, but there's work to be done in this picture. And here is 611 active security alerts. 611 high-risk security alerts. Not all of those are high risk, but only 24. So this is a challenge, and that it needs to be someone's job to ensure that security is a focus. There needs to be a cloud security team. Before the cloud, I'm very sure the engineering department had an IT security team. Yeah? Now we're in the cloud, we need a cloud security team, but guess what? Just because you are an experienced and probably very skilled and really good and hardworking IT security person does not also mean that you can become automatically a cloud security person. You need retraining, or you need to hire more people. You need to hire security consultants, and I tell you good luck with that, because they are very, very scarce in the market. So you need to retrain your own people and bring them along and show them that there is a future in the cloud. Or, as an individual expert, you can become one of these people, right? Okay, Microsoft Defender is blinking, all of these red lights, all of these alerts. Can I get all together now? You know what to say, right? Microsoft Defender is blinking, all of these red lights. But, thanks, that was a nice but. I made you all say but. All right, sorry about that, I'm 12 years old. Microsoft Defender is blinking all of these red lights, but hey, it's not my job to fix it, right? The application is my job, the application is running, everything is cool on my side. I don't know what all those red lights are. They're blinking all the time, so we've stopped looking at them. Yeah? And I did, I wrote, Microsoft's in the cloud is called Microsoft Defender, the thing you get your security score for. And I wrote Defender in the learning path catalog, and out came lots and lots and lots of things. So if you want to become a security expert in the cloud, you could start at Microsoft Learn resources and take a look at what's in there. There is a lot, okay? Actually, can I redo my selfie thing now? Because seriously, I have a crowd standing in the back. Can we do it one more time? Yes. Look at this. Crowd standing in the back. Yeah, don't say but. I mean but with only one T. Just want to make that clear. I didn't say the other word. Okay. So lots and lots and lots of different security trainings that you can get involved with. You can learn about security. You can become a security expert. And if you are or want to be or can become a security expert, wow, you will have a job straight away because there is such a shortage of security cloud experts. So as a consultant, you can help be experts on security services. You can operate your customer security as an external entity. Come in and say, we can take care of your security for you and help you build a plan to improve security. Hire all the security experts you can find. You won't find any, but you can try. And then if you are using security, you need to build a security office for the cloud. Right? If you don't have one, if you're spending millions of rupee on cloud resources and running your business critical applications in the cloud, you should also probably have a security office for cloud, right? I've seen companies that don't have that, and they're spending lots. So hire all the security specialists and consultants, if you can find them. They're going to be expensive, but most importantly also make security strategic in the organization. So it needs to matter to less technical people, to business suits, right? Normal people. So what does that mean? Technical people are not normal? No, 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 no. Technical people are like magical folks, yeah? Yes, right? Exactly right. So normal people are like muggles, non-magical folks, right? That's exactly right, because we are the magical people. You know that they say that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So we are all in the business of magic. Yeah? It's true. So you have to ensure that it is somebody's job to fix that secure score. Because I've seen in many occasions with my customers that they have different teams building different applications for the business and they're running. But it isn't someone's job to ensure that security has progress. Okay, cool. That's security. We're coming towards the end. I have a few more slides to end. Do we have any questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
So the compliance that you're talking about,
yeah.
what are they? Can you give an example, like what actually happens in a company?
Compliancy, specifically. Okay, the question, to repeat for the audience, is what about compliancy specifically? Can you give an example? What does that mean? I'll give a very simple example, and you can extrapolate. There are hundreds of policies in the cloud. And policies about what exactly? So for example, you know that there is something called a TLS, which has versions, right? If you know that, there's versions like 1, 1.1, 1.2, and the old versions are being deprecated for security reasons. You should not be using the old versions. But technically, you can still deploy, let's say, a blob storage account. A blob storage account in Azure is a service where you can upload and store all your files. And that needs to be secure, because otherwise, if someone breaks in and steals your files, you may have a major problem, right? And so it is technically possible to already have deployed one of those with the old TLS version, or actually technically possible to even do it still today. But you shouldn't. So there's a policy that says, we noticed that you deployed a storage account with the TLS version which was less. That is not compliant. You should put it to 1.2 instead. You should up the security, right? That is one example of one policy. And then there are hundreds, right? Hundreds. You should always use HTTPS. That's another policy, right? You can deploy an application, a web application using HTTP, but that's not good. It should be using HTTPS, right? That's another policy. Again, hundreds of those exist. Great, what a wonderful question. Great question. Any more questions? Oh, now we have.
The security issues reported by the Microsoft Azure.
Yeah.
Can be handled automatically or manual intervention?
That's a good question. So to repeat the question, for security in the cloud, all of these alerts and notifications we saw, can they be handled automatically by the cloud itself, or do you have to do a manual intervention on them? The answer is both. It depends which thing it is. You can, in fact, put policy in place that fixes things. So if you deploy a virtual machine to the cloud, but you forgot to also include a network security group. No, actually, let's say you deploy a virtual machine to the cloud and you configure it to HTTP. Oh, bad idea. You put an open port to the internet and it's only HTTP. Don't do it, folks, right? You can have actually a policy with a remediation effect which will change the setting on the server so that when it is deployed, it will not have, the instruction said deploy HTTP. When it actually shows up in the cloud, it has HTTPS. So the policy goes in and makes it an automatic intervention and changes it. That's something you can do. But then you have to learn about policies and compliance and security, and you have to be an expert at this. Great question. Final question, maybe? Final question? It seems like there's two persons with a hand up. Yes?
How many compliance we can include so that our performance will not affect? Or compliance include n number of compliance
Right.
affect the performance?
That's a great question. So the question is, if you have many compliancy policies in effect and you try to follow them, will that have a performance impact? Can we use all the compliancy settings and still have performance? The answer is yes, you most certainly can. And another part of the same answer is you can't really not have them, right? You can't really choose if it were such a thing, and it's not really. You can't say either performance or compliance. It's not, there's no such thing. You have to have compliance, right? Basically, no matter the cost, because if you...
You are saying 50% of the security right now.
Yeah.
And if I make that to 100%,
Yeah.
will that affect my performance?
No, it will not. So the follow-up question is that if I have 50% security today and I work on it and make it better and I get it to 100, will I have less performance? Probably no. It's not related like that. There can be performance indication for some things that you change in your applications.
As we are increasing the number of tasks,
Yeah.
our performance to reach that particular
Yeah.
task will decrease.
No, I don't think so. I'll hold my ground firmly on this, it's not like we can say, can we have performance or security? It's not like we can say, hey, can we have performance or compliancy? It doesn't work like that. And just because you increase compliancy level, just because you increase security level, doesn't necessarily mean that you decrease performance. It's not related. All right, I think we're about to wrap up. So I'm going to close out. Do I have, no, you stay down. Yeah, I'm not done yet. You can go away.
Just a Q&A. I have some goodies to give away. So
Yeah, all right. So if you think it's expensive to hire an expert, you should wait until you hire an amateur, right? Just bring that with you in life. It's a good quote. If somebody tells me, hey, you're an expert consultant, but it's very expensive. Yeah, so you can hire one that takes less. That's okay. I'll come back. I can wait. I'll come back in 6 months and see how you're doing. In summary, again, focus a lot on your skills, right? Learn, become better, become an expert. Ensure that you focus and include on skills in your company. Spend time learning about something called Azure Monitor, Azure Advisor, learn about Defender, learn about policy, the things that I have talked about here today. Become a cloud expert, yeah? And consider then strategically also getting help. That's a very self-serving comment because that's my job. I do that. You can become one of these people who are an expert, you know, a consultant who will come in and fix things for companies, because there are a lot of companies out there with half secure, right? There are a lot of them there. And if you can become the expert to come in and say, hello, I can help you cut 30% of your cloud spend. You're hired. Yeah? Right? You're paying for yourself. So that was it for me. Thank you. You have been a glorious audience. Thank you. And there are prizes, I hear. Ask questions? Oi, what questions?
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, I'll give you one.
Okay. To how many cities, and you need to raise your hand, to how many cities has the C# Corner Conference Tour gone? 5 is correct. The gentleman in the shirt over there. Do we need photos of this and stuff? Oh, there's a photo guy. Come on up. Jump. All right, there we go. What else questions? 3 more questions, all right. Huh? I know. Oh, this is a nice t-shirt. And so this lovely looking t-shirt goes to the person who can answer the question, where is Sweden? In Europe, yes. Can you qualify that a little bit? Europe is large. Next to Finland, that is correct. Give me one more fact. Capital is Stockholm. Sorry. You want to have a photo? Yeah. Well done. That's good knowledge right there. So, yeah. All right. We like this?
Yeah, definitely.
We have, what, 2 more? Oh, okay. So, how many, did I say again, live in Sweden? You can't be shouting like that. That doesn't work. Lady in the yellow shirt? 10 million is correct. See what happens when you shout like this? You lose. This is a size mega large, I think. That's going to fit you. You can make it into a hammock.
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. One more. This is a backpack. Oh my goodness. Oh, very nice backpack. It's C# Corner backpack. You want? All right. Want to have a good question? It's all me? Oh my goodness. It's all me. All right. Who is the most important strategic person in the cloud plan? Lady? Security is wrong. In my opinion. You have to have my opinion. You're making a strategy for your company to go to the cloud. Who is the most important person? HR is correct. Human resource. Yeah? Backpack. Thank you, everyone. You've been beautiful. Thank you.